slight changes here and there, but I'm trying to make it as relevant for where you're at right now. But if something doesn't make sense, please just, please just stop me. And when I ask for some input, if it's a thumbs up, you can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Or if you shout out or you check, remember, if you put in the chat, I'm not going to see it. So let's go. Right. I'm going to start with this. You and I are in the car together, and I pull up at the closest Checkers. I give you $20 and I say to you, you've got 10 minutes. You need to run into the shop and you have to buy me the best bottle of shampoo you can possibly find. And when you get to the shelf, this is what you see. So my question to you today is, which bottle of shampoo are you going to bring back to the car for me today? Which choice? A, B, C, D, E, up to L. Which, anybody or everybody? What is your choice? Your brief is to bring me the best. Pardon? Say that again.
D.
E.
J.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Is there a reason maybe for E?
J.
J is good. J in the front.
E.
E as well. Oh, E is a clear winner. Why E?
No, D. D for donkey.
D. D for donkey. Okay. Why D?
Because it's right in front of me.
Okay, because I only gave you 10 minutes. You must hurry. Okay, cool. The reality of this is that every single bottle of shampoo is exactly the same. There's not a single difference between them. And so when you're standing there having to make a choice, you're either going to take none if the brief was the best bottle, or you're going to stand there going, well, honestly, what's the point? I can just as well take any of them. And the next time you're looking at sending your CV out somewhere, I want you to think about these bottles of shampoo, because 95% of the time, student and graduate CVs look like bottles of shampoo. You cannot tell them apart. They've got your personal details, your education, sometimes a little bit of where you think you're good, and that's pretty much it. So when a recruiter's been given the brief to find the very best finance graduate, for example, and this is what we get, sometimes we don't even choose one. We close it down, we go to another shop. So when you're looking at your very generic CV, remember that the reader has choice. And in the South African market, with a 43% of youth unemployment, believe me, as a recruiter, I have so much choice. I do not have to pick one of these bottles of shampoo. So it means that you need to now stand out. And today, that's what we're going to do for you. Okay. So anybody here, you can stick a thumbs up, you can shout out yes. Anybody here know what an ATS is? You hear it on LinkedIn all the time. The ATS system kicks me out, or I must have lots of stuff to make the ATS work for me. Anybody hear of it, know what it is? Anybody have no idea what it is?
No idea.
Okay, cool. So it stands for Applicant Tracking System. And you'll hear lots and lots of stuff about an applicant tracking system, but it's nothing fancier than a database. So LinkedIn is a database. It's not only an applicant tracking system, but it is a database. PNet, Career Junction, all of those platforms and we are databases. And if you upload your CV to a specific company, let's say, I don't know, F&B, and you go onto their career portal, you upload your CV, it goes to a database. And what happens is that when a recruiter has a job spec, we read that job spec, we extract what is important, so keywords, and those keywords frame the search. So I go and put in a couple of keywords, and then it spits back something. That's where the science of your CV comes into play. If your CV doesn't have the right things, I'm not going to find you in my search. And if it has a couple of the right things, but other people have more of it, what that means is your CV will rank higher. So while recruiters will open maybe the top 100, maybe 120 CVs, very rarely are we looking at CV number 250. So if your CV doesn't have the right stuff in it, I'm likely not going to see you. The truth is that many recruiters and hiring managers, we do this day in and day out. And so our ability to scan a CV for relevant information becomes so honed that we spend, and I know this sounds like a scary number, 40 to 50 seconds to determine whether your CV is worth saving or making a call for. So what that really means is this is where the magic of your CV comes. So CVs are both science and magic, or art and science, if you want to look at it that way. Within those 40 seconds, something has to catch my attention for me to want to read further, or for me to want to put you in the must call you pile. So I want you to think about that. And then the application process is super important because we also use filtering tools. So whether it's AI on our databases, whether it's AI in our mailboxes, we filter to make it efficient for us. So if I said, as an example, please send email to Geeta at Performability using finance grad Durban as a subject line, that becomes my filter. So if you put finance application, I'm not going to see you. Even if you had the most perfect application on the planet, I may not have seen you. So it's really important to keep that in the back of your head when you are looking at working with your CV. So one of the things that I really want you to remember today, if nothing else, well, one of the most important things today, is that for you guys or any candidate in the market, the job portals are free to use. You can upload your CV profiles for free. But for agency recruiters, corporate companies, we pay for every single platform. And they're really expensive for us. So very, very, very few recruiters subscribe to all of the job portals. So as an example, in my business, I only pay for Careers 24 and executive placements. Some people only pay for peanuts. I know some agencies only have one portal. So if you've only decided that it's too much admin and you're only going to put your CV on Careers 24, but 90% of the recruiters in your space use executive placements, you aren't going to be found. So while it is a little bit more admin, I really strongly recommend that your CVs are on at least these 4 platforms and you've got a good LinkedIn presence, because every recruiter uses LinkedIn for 2 reasons. To find you, so we can source from LinkedIn like a database, and to validate and verify your personal brand and your data. So if you have a LinkedIn profile, it must look like your CV, because otherwise we're going to start asking questions about which one was valid and why one maybe wasn't. Okay. And then beyond the job portals, you need to have a presence. So whether it's your CV or maybe it's a portfolio of work or whatever it is in the specialist spaces that in your field. So as an example, if you're an IT student, you might be on Stack Overflow, Git, Bitbucket. You might have a presence on one of the subreddits. If you are in the marketing space, or you in any of the design spaces, you might want to be on Behance. If you're in the journalism, marketing, content creation space, you may want to be on sites like Medium. So aside from this, where is your community hanging out? So the manager's looking for you. Where do they go? Because that's where your CV and your presence needs to be. Anybody have any questions on this so far? Three, two, one. Okay, right. I want to give you a real example. So if you can put yourself in these shoes. You are in the market for a TV, and Samsung is your preferred brand, and you're insisting on an LED Ultra HD TV. And this is the very best price you have seen this TV for. And you can see that this is exactly what you want. And you can see that it gives you the option to deliver and pick up. That's great. Off to the store you go. And you get into, let's say, what's today? Let's go Macro today. You get into Macro and you're wandering around the store and you can't find the crystal, you cannot find this TV on the shelf. And a consultant comes up to you and he says, oh, we actually, we may not have stock. And you go, why? Because this thing was only advertised today. And he goes, well, actually, it was only valid for 5 days, but we didn't really have stock. So, yeah. And guess what? We make a 200% markup if you buy this TV. And we're actually trying to get rid of it because we want to make shelf space for the newer model. And really, we're hoping, you see, we pre-selected delivery because we hope it doesn't fit into your car so we can charge you more for the TV we're trying to get rid of and that we don't have stock on. How keen are you? Because what was advertised and the experience you're getting are completely different things. Who here is overjoyed now at buying this TV? And you'd run to 5 other macros to actually find this thing, given this experience. Anybody here like gung-ho, I'm buying this TV anyway? No. Lovely. I'm so glad to hear it. But here's the other thing. So if you were in the market for this TV, would you have gone and put TV, hit enter on Google? No, you wouldn't have. I see your hand now. I'll come back to you now. You wouldn't do that. You would have put Samsung LED HD in order to find the most relevant CV. So when you're thinking about how's a recruiter trying to find me, think about how you go and search for something you want. You're as specific as possible. You filter down to Johannesburg or Durban. You don't randomly put in something so generic that wastes all of your time trying to find it. So remember, bottles of shampoo must be visible everywhere. And have I been specific enough for the people that want to find me? The person that had the hand up, do you still have a question? You're welcome to unmute.
Yes, please. Thank you
Of
so
course.
much. Sorry to take you back a little,
Mhm.
but this is something that you've mentioned earlier, where you were saying that recruiters, they extract keywords.
Yes.
If it's not something that you're still going to explain a bit further, but I was just wondering, how do I know which keywords are going to make me stand above the rest?
Okay. If you put $1 million in my bank account now, I will tell you in 5 minutes. No? Okay. I definitely am going to show you how to do it. Okay. I will definitely make sure you have an understanding. Okay. We're going to get to that next, but I want you to remember that your CV is not for you. It is with the reader in mind. And very often when we're putting together our CV, we put things in that make sense to us because we understand it in our own head. Or we make assumptions that if I do this, it obviously means that I do that first. But that's obvious to you, not always to the person that receives your CV. So when you are thinking about, even now, when we're looking at keywords and how to optimize your CV, think about that. Will this make sense to somebody who has no idea what I do? And if not, and maybe a good way of doing it is to give it to somebody who has no clue what you do or what you might do and ask them, what do they know about you? That is sometimes a very good way to assess whether you've hit the nail on the head. like I said earlier, it has to stand out, or you may as well not bother sending it at all. And then it needs to be aligned to the roles that you apply for. And that's where the science of choosing the right keywords comes into play. But also it is a sign for you that you can't apply to everything. And I know it's tempting because you know the unemployment rate's high. You want to give yourself a good spread of choice, of chances. But I'm telling you now that applying to everything is not helping. And it's probably more demoralizing when you get 200 rejections, and probably only because it wasn't aligned and you didn't meet the requirements of the job as much as you hoped to be given a chance. So less is more. More targeted is probably better. And as long as you work on your CV, you're giving yourself a better chance. Please keep it up to date all the time. Many of you might use a skills matrix. You may talk about levels of experience for a tech stack. Like I've used Excel on a beginner level, but your CV is now 3 years old. If you put Excel beginner, that's what I'm going to assume. But if you've now used it for 3 years and you think you're now intermediate, I can't know that. So please make sure it's updated all the time. And we've covered, it must be where your audience is most likely to find you. If we can't talk to you, if we can't find you. And that is the honest truth. Right. I'm going to give you a choice now. We're going to move forward with option A or option B. So from a CV template perspective, who here, so you can put a thumbs up or any of the emojis, thumbs up, who's choosing option A? So the majority, we can go forward. Any emoji. You have got a hand up, or you want, is that your choice? Hands up for A. Is that a hands up or a question? Because raising your hand means you want to talk. Okay, I'm going to assume it's for A. So I'm assuming then that the rest of the people on the call are happy with option B. Is option B the choice for everybody else? Aside from the alumni department, is everybody else happy to do B? I'm going to assume so. Okay. The truth is that while option A is visually appealing, it is not optimized for an ATS system. So when the human gets to see Tanya May Martin's CV, it looks great from a graphic designer perspective, but her CV would have ranked so low against option B that I probably would never have seen her CV. And there's a good couple of reasons for that. An applicant tracking system, for the most part, and even the most sophisticated ones, are unable to read images. So it can't tell the difference between her face and the Adobe InDesign, Photoshop icons at the bottom. All of her skills have been embedded in an image on the left. So if I say I'm looking for a graphic designer, so if my keywords were graphic designer, InDesign and Photoshop, Tanya's CV would not have come up at all. Not at all. However, data-rich, plain text, as boring as it looks, are more likely to get through the ATS system, hands down. And if it is well structured and well optimized, even though it's not visually appealing, you can still put in a portfolio that shows you how Tanya can structure visual documents. But I would have likely have seen you because you would have ranked in the top 50. So when you're looking at your own version, all the images, all the stuff that you've copied and printed from Canva is an image-driven system. It does not download anything in a Word format. So please just remember that while it might look great, it is not functional at all. Okay. CV is a really simple document, and you only need to cover these 5 things. Who are you? Your personal details. I'm going to cover in a minute what you don't need to what you don't need to put on there. But please make sure that your name and surname, your contactable phone number, and email address are there. If you happen to have 2 cell numbers, please bear in mind how annoying it is for when you're on CV 200, because remember your CV is not for you, it's for the reader, for me to try work out whether I'm phoning you on one number and WhatsApping you on another number and which one is which. So if you have to, just say, call this, text this, if you need to do it that way. One number is preferred. And please make sure that your email address doesn't say hotbunny69@gmail.com. You can create 2 Gmails. Please make it a professional sounding Gmail. Name, surname, name. A couple of numbers is okay because we know Gmail has some limitations. Why I should look at you. So that's your value statement, your executive summary, your alignment proposition at the beginning of your CV. So you want me to know why I should look at you. Then you want to know where you've got what makes you suitable for this role. That is your qualifications and your work experience. Then I want to know what you did there. So that's the duties, the tasks that you performed in those spaces. I can see in one space to another, we do it differently. How did you or what did you do? And then lastly is the how. It's the context. Those are your success stories, your achievements. That is quantifying the complexity of your environment or the volumes that you dealt with. That's the space that makes you stand out. So the why and the how are the things that will matter when the human sees it. The rest of it, and strategically used, is what will make sense to the applicant tracking systems algorithms when I put in my keywords. Any questions on this bit? It's pretty much the structure of your CV. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Ginta. Good afternoon to you and to everyone. I just, it's very important that we understand clearly on the why and the how part. It is important because you mentioned that it's what will make my CV stand out from the rest. So I want to understand it perfectly good. So on the how part that you just finished explaining, I did not hear clearly some of the things I can put. I'm not sure if I heard correctly, but you spoke about some of the achievement apart from the work experience that you have, which for me is also an achievement itself. Maybe you've worked at a dream company, for example, like KwaZulu-Natal Tourism and Film Authority. That is a dream company for a tourism practitioner like myself. But apart from that, and apart from my qualifications obtained at DUT, which is another big achievement. I want to get, what can I put in the how part? What extra achievement that maybe that are unique, that will make my CV stand out? And I want to get on that value statement, on the why part, on the value statement. Please try and assist there in explaining. I want to be clear there so that my CV is unique, it stands out.
Okay, thank you for that. That is a very good question. So I will cover it again shortly, but I'm going to redo it. I'm going to restate it now. So let's put it this way. Let's say you worked at the tourism, 10 graduates applied there. So you're all working on an internship. Now, all of you are working for the dream company doing the same job. What now sets you apart? How do I know that you outperformed them? That you achieved or that you worked projects that were possibly different to theirs? because the uniqueness and the context is that stuff. So let's give you an example. Let's say there was let's say that Durban had won a thing to host a specific sporting event. Big deal for Durban. Lots of tourists, lots of income. Key project. If there were 10 interns in that space and only 2 of them were selected to work on that key project, that would be work experience, but could also be context. Because out of 10 of you, 2 of you were chosen for that key purpose, for that key project for a reason. Because you either demonstrated certain characteristics or skills or trust or work ethic that got them to pick you out of 10 people for that project. Do you see what I mean by context? I wouldn't know that if you didn't tell me that.
Understood. It's now becoming clearer.
Okay, good. I will cover it again, but that's just that was just to answer the question now. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Cool, you're welcome. Thanks for giving some input. Right, here's what we can leave out of your CV. And most of this is because you make it too easy for somebody to steal your identity. Your CV is chock-a-block full of lots of details that would help me identity clone you. So please don't leave your full address. All I need to know is the suburb and the province that you live in. That is sufficient. And I only really need to know that because it helps me to determine whether travel to a specific location is feasible. However, if you are willing to relocate somewhere closer, you need to let me know that. Because if I put Johannesburg, Gauteng, but I apply for a Durban position, I now need to decide, did he not see that it was a Durban position, or is she wanting to relocate? So rather you say that, but please don't put house number, street number, and everything there. Please do not put your full ID numbers. A date of birth or even a birth year is more than enough data. We definitely do not need your religion or your marital status. How many children you've got? We don't need to know dependents. We don't need to know that you're in good health at all. The only but there is if you have a listed disability that would either contribute to BE scorecard points or requires special accommodation in the workplace. Otherwise, please don't tell us you're in good health. We do not need to know your hobbies at all unless a job requirement asked for it. So let's say sometimes in the IT, mobile development space, gaming development space, sometimes they ask if you are a gamer, in which case put it. Otherwise, please leave it off. Depending on how long you've been in the job market, we don't also want to know your school achievements. And even now, when you're applying for grad positions, internships, junior entry-level positions, we do not need to know that you were the library monitor in primary school. It adds no relevance whatsoever. However, we may at this point want to know about distinctions that you may have achieved in high school. You could also be talking about leadership roles that you have held in high school, counselors, first team sports captains, any specific committees or clubs that you were instrumental in managing. Those are okay now. But as you move 3 years or 2 years into your career, those things you can start taking off your CV. Okay. This is the stuff you want to double check that you definitely got in your CV. All your dates. So the date you matriculated, the dates that you completed qualifications, the dates that you completed certifications, and any dates aligned to a job you've had. Start date and end date. Again, you only need month and year, month and year. We don't need to know that you started a job on the 16th of January and left on the 29th of December. Month and year. For all jobs, and qualifications, we need to know the institution. So where did you do your qualification? What was the name of the company that you worked for? And then under your qualifications, we also want to know the name of the qualification. So if it was a matric, if it was a BCom honors, if it was a whatever, give us the name of your qualification so that we know what you did where. The order of your CV needs to be from the most current to the oldest, because as you progress, generally something that you've done recently is more relevant than something you did many, many, many years ago. So most current to oldest. Be mindful on your CV if you've got a lot of qualifications or courses that you start and never finish. It's okay when you used credits towards a different qualification. You may want to say so. But if you have a track record of starting and not finishing, you may rather want to leave those off because it starts to frame a narrative about never completing tasks. When you're talking about your jobs, you want to have your job title and your duties for every single role. You also want to talk about your skill sets, so technology stacks that were utilized in that environment. And then you want to check that you've got context. We've got that context again, that you've listed a value proposition, and that you have checked the entire document for consistency, spelling, and grammar. And by consistency, I mean that you have used ATS-friendly fonts, Arial, Verdana, Century Gothic, Calibri. Those are all ATS-friendly fonts, and that you've used the same font throughout. If you're going to use headings, you can use headings in bold, but make sure all of your headings in bold. Make sure your spacing is consistent, that you're not enter, you're using the tab function, that you don't have big gaps somewhere, small gaps other places. Double check your spelling and read it afterwards, because correctly spelt words are not always grammatically correct. So please check your spelling and read it, and then check your grammar. Also make sure all of your bullets are the same, that they're aligned, that you've not squashed everything on half a page and left a big space on the other side for one tiny little heading, because it makes the CV longer and a lot more difficult to read. Any questions on these two screens before we move on? What we can leave out and what to double check. Has anybody got any questions on what might be in their CVs? Good. Okay. Yes. You're welcome to
Yes.
go.
Sorry. On my CV, I want to go on that part on what to leave out. On my CV, I know that I have the address, specifically the postal address. So it's not important to include. Maybe I can just exclude it, and maybe I can just put the province and the town that I am from only.
Yes. Because I can promise you this, no recruiter ever is going to send you a letter to your postal address. Not ever.
I see. No, thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions on this? Any other questions? We're good. Yes, Mom.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Right. Basic CV structure. Contact details, either in a header or on the first page. I see there's another question. You happy to ask before I move on?
Thank you. With regards to I saw that some of the things that we needed to leave out was your school. It mentioned the school achievements, depending on the
Yes.
length.
Yeah.
But you also made mention of some of the roles that you played whilst you were still at school. So is that dependent on the type of employment you're looking for, or it's standard procedure on whatever that you're applying for? Because I
You
see
know
that
what?
dependent on length of time.
Yeah, you know what? If you're applying for a leadership position, first of all, it's unlikely at an early stage in your career because you don't generally employ a manager from fresh out of grad school or out of university.
Mm.
But there are times when it shows that you have leadership capability, and leadership is not just about managing people. It's also about taking ownership and about driving an outcome. So I think if your role requires, you can put it in if your role requires it, but honestly, when you're 5 years in, you have enough other stuff that you don't need to be talking about high school and primary school anymore. It doesn't add that much value as you move forward. I'm not saying leave it out all the time, but just, I wouldn't put it in as a standard. And when you are going to put it in, again, when we're talking about context, you need to help me connect the dots. Why are you leaving it there? Because otherwise it just looks like you just taking up space.
And maybe just a final one with regards to where you were explaining what needs to be on the CV. There was the way part with qualifications and work experience. You'd know how it would always start with a matric and then write the year in which you finished the matric and then start with your qualifications. Do we do that, or it'll just be standard to know that you wouldn't have received your degree without first passing your matric? Or do you
No,
need to
trust
put
me,
it
you
there
need to
as
put
well?
it. Most companies still
Okay.
want to see it. So I agree with you. Having said that, though, there is also something, there are times when you can apply for a degree with years of service. So if I've been working 20 years, I may not have a matric. I can still get a degree. So you don't need to put the start and end date. For qualifications, you only need the completed date. For jobs, you need the start and end date. And from
Thank you.
current to oldest, not matric. So current to oldest. Okay. Right. So contact details either in the header or the top of page 1. Then you're going to have a page 1 summary page. It will have your value statement and your key skills, a summary of work, and a summary of qualifications. And you could put something else there, depending on what role you're applying for, links sometimes to portfolios of work. But if that is your first page, you're giving me such a lovely snapshot of what it is you do, then your CV can be a little bit longer because you give me the option to know what it is I want to go and read thereafter. So a good summary page, specifically where you've added your value statement, key skills, and these summaries, in essence, alleviate the need for a cover letter that says all of this stuff. Because quite frankly, very few recruiters read cover letters nowadays. And the reason for that is because they read like the back of bottles of shampoo. Attached is my CV. I meet the requirements of this job specifically, and I'm so excited to get feedback from you. Why did I need to read that when I have only got 40 seconds to look at your CV? So give me a good summary page. Don't attach a cover letter that says nothing. If you're going to send a cover letter, and sometimes there are job portals, specifically company direct job applications, ask you for a cover letter. Use the cover letter to explain why you believe you're a good fit for the role. Position yourself. That's the point of a cover letter. There's no purpose to say attached is my CV because obviously. Okay. Then your work in detail comes after that. Skills matrix, project summaries, portfolios of work need to be included, and references are optional. So if you're going to include references, you need to tell me where that person is a reference for you, what their job title was, how am I getting in touch with them so that I can call them. Please never, ever, ever, if you choose to use references on your CV, put your current employer as a reference. Some recruiter one day may make a mistake and phone your current employer, who may not know you're looking to leave and could put your job in jeopardy. It's safer to leave it off altogether. When you are using a reference, you need to let that referee know. It is a POPI compliance requirement that a referee has given you permission to share their data on your CV. So they need to be aware of it. So please just let them know that you have put them down, or are they comfortable being put down as a reference? Right. I want to cover transferable skills, because very often when I'm working with students one-on-one or in smaller groups, they say to me, my CV looks like this because I don't have a lot of working experience, or I don't have any working experience. And I go, well, you know what? Honestly, I believe that students are remarkable, and you guys always have more than you think. You always have more than you think you do that is relevant to your job. I will come back to you in a second. I see your hand. Thank you. So when we're thinking about context, positioning, and value proposition, I want you to bear in mind all of these things. And while we're talking about it, I want you really to start taking some notes, because something might jump out at you at this stage, depending on what it is you're applying for. But really what you want to do is you want to have a good read of the job spec you're applying to. Really understand what it is asking you to do. So from a duties perspective, from a skills perspective, because there's the candidate's going to do this, then it says the candidate must have, and the candidate should be. Those are kind of the sections on most job specs. It tells you so much data that you can use to pause and think, well, where and how would I demonstrate that I am actually qualified for this position? Now, many of you will have either done work integrated learning or will do it at some stage in the next year or two. Work integrated learning is so valuable for your CV, and yet so many students leave it off completely. It is like work. You took instruction, you executed tasks, you worked on special projects, you had to achieve certain objectives while you were there. Those are incredibly valuable to showcase that you were able to take what you learned and apply it to a real workplace. The same is true for volunteer work. And it doesn't always have to be directly related to your job. So let me give you a good example. Many of you are maybe chairpersons of some committee at the varsity, or you did some volunteer work for an organization. Many of those skills are transferable, and that really just means that you may have not done exactly the same thing, but it was so similar, it means that your learning in that new thing would be so much quicker. That work is the same thing. Projects, same. And projects is not workplace projects. I really want you to go back and think about group assignments or individual assignments throughout your qualification. We just think it's more work, and what's the point? I can just write an exam. But if you think about some of the tasks you did to execute on that project are very similar to the tasks you would do in your workplace or for a specific project or against a certain thing. Research, analysis, teamwork, structure, reporting, sometimes actual coding, sometimes actual analysis of stuff. Lots of the project work that the university give you is incredibly valuable for showcasing what you did. If we're talking about context here, when you've done a project at scale, so sometimes your capstone projects at the end of the year, you could have got distinctions for that. You could have got commendations for certain things. That's context. That is showcasing scale at which you were able to do something. Part-time work, that could be you worked as a waiter, a retail assistant. Those are still valuable skills. It shows that you had the ability to apply yourself in a structured workplace, taking direction from people, dealing with others, It's valuable whether we think about it or not. Does it give you an edge all the time? No, it doesn't. Does it give me something to attach to rather than the bottle of shampoo? Yes, it does. And I promise you, if I get one of you to give me a project example and a job you've applied for, I will show you that it is immensely valuable for it. Okay, there were two hands. So the first person, I can't recall who it was, and then I see there's a new hand.
Yes, there was mine first.
Okay.
So I wanted to get clarity on that last part of the previous slide. I was under the impression that references are compulsory. I did not know that they are optional. I thought they are just a must, and I thought that you must have at least 2 or 3 conductable references. That's what I thought. Otherwise, it's very good if they are not compulsory. Yeah, I would rather not have them than to have them on my CV. But
Yes.
I just wanted to share and to just confirm if I was under the wrong impression.
Absolutely not necessary. At some point before a job, a recruiter or a hiring or a talent acquisition specialist is going to do a reference, but you can provide that data when it's required. You do not have to put it on your CV. And you know, again, it takes up space and it's not going to make a difference to me deciding to pick up the phone and phone you. And that's what your CV's for. You want the hiring manager, the recruiter, or the talent acquisition person to engage with you. Whether you have Jane Doe's name on your CV at the end is not going to do that. Okay.
Oh,
Leave it
okay.
off.
This means that we can only put references if maybe the advertisement of the job does state that references are required.
Correct.
Otherwise, if it does not state, it's safe that we maybe exclude them. That
Yes.
does not put us at a disadvantage.
Not at all. I've never looked at a reference in screening a CV. Never. I only use the references when an offer is likely to be made or at an interview stage with my client. So don't worry about it at all. Okay,
Understood. Thank you so
good.
much.
You're welcome. Okay, there was another hand up.
Yes. I wanted to ask, actually, I have 2 questions. The first one is, I wanted to ask, would it be professional and appropriate for me as a public relations student to include my small residence-based snowball business on my LinkedIn profile and under my CV, under experience? Because I managed promotions, customer relations, sales, and stock control, and I feel like it helped me develop communication and marketing skills.
Heck yes. Hands down, yes. Anybody that has a side hustle or has a business should be on your CV. It is immensely valuable because when you run a small business, if you think about the millions of things that you do as a solopreneur, those are very valuable. So let me give you an example. You're applying to a junior finance position. In your own business, you have to manage a budget, you have to pay vendors, you have to invoice, you have to manage stock control, you have to look at pricing, you have to look at profitability. Tell me about what about that is not relevant to a junior finance position. Or let's say you're going into marketing. Yes, you may have sold a product, but you also did a ton load of marketing, even if that was a couple of social media posts and maybe a couple of flyers in your local community. That is marketing that got you business. You're immediately showcasing your ability to attract clients. So much of it. And that's what I meant on the last line. What do you do in your personal capacity? Side businesses or any small business that you run, absolutely, please don't leave it off. Never, ever, ever leave it off. Some like, sometimes like it's not always a business, but you very often when you're an IT technician or anybody hears that you studied IT, trust me, that laptop that's not working is coming out and it's being opened in front of you and somebody's saying, can you help me fix this thing? If you're applying for a support position, the fact that you do this and have successfully troubleshooted and resolved technical issues is relevant. You are showing application of skill. Please don't leave these things out. It's what sets you apart. All of this stuff constitutes context. You give me something to join the dots between what you do and what I'm looking for you to do. Good. Any other questions here?
That's
Noted.
very
Also mentioned that what employers see on LinkedIn should match what is on the CV. So I am a third year, like a final year student, and I've already gained experience through the project-based learning, work integrated learning, and other practical work. But I didn't post them on LinkedIn at that time. But I still have pictures and evidence. Is it okay to add those experiences on LinkedIn profile later, even if the posting dates are different from the dates on my CV? Will that cause any problems with
No, the posting date's not important. I won't be able to tell on your LinkedIn that you only added that job today. The fact that the job is there is important.
Oh, okay, thank you
But
so much.
LinkedIn also has a project section. So if you go under your profile, it allows you to add a project section. So go and add stuff there as well, because it also gives you an opportunity to insert keywords into your LinkedIn profile so that I find you better. But there's a whole LinkedIn workshop specifically on that. So please attend that one when it pops up in your calendar. Okay.
Oh, okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the science of your CV. So this is the part where we are looking at what keywords should I have in my job spec. And I've kind of made this easy for you, but I'm going to explain the what and the how. And at the end of this, I'm going to pop these prompts wherever you see this little AI button. I've written the prompt, I've tested the prompt, and I'm going to put it in at the end, and you can use this prompt to run through your stuff and find the right keywords, because the prompt will give you the keywords that you need to have. But this is the principle of it. So you're not going to apply for one job. You're not. You're probably going to apply for 20 jobs at a time. Correct? Nobody applies for one job and then waits and then waits and waits. You apply for a bunch of jobs so that you've got your fingers in a couple of pies. But some of those jobs, so let's give you an example, finance, IT, marketing, those are not always jobs specific to a certain sector. So there could be finance in manufacturing, finance in insurance, finance in banking, finance in a gazillion different places. Same with other roles. Not all of the requirements in sectors are exactly the same, nor are their job titles, nor are their tech stacks. And so what that means is, especially on portals like PNet, Indeed, Career Junction, those places, you've got to have a very good generic CV so that no matter who's looking for you, there's enough in it for you to be found. And there's only one way to do this. And that is to take, and I say 5 job specs and 5 LinkedIn profiles, but that's an example. I really encourage you to use at least 10 job specs. Do not copy, take a photo or a screenshot, because remember, AI cannot read images. Copy and paste the data into text on one document and save it as job specs. Then take your CV as it stands, so even the one you've got today, and you're going to upload it with this prompt. And what's going to happen is the AI has been prompted to read all 10 job specs, to have a look at what the most common language and requirements, and by language, I don't mean English or Zulu. I'm talking about the way that they phrase things in the job spec, the words that they use. So recon versus reconciliation, or process optimization versus lean, those kinds of things. And it's going to look at the most common requirements against all 10 job specs. It's then going to take it and review it against your CV. And what it's going to do is it's going to say to you, if you're looking to apply for these 10 jobs, your CV should have these 10 job specs in. I mean, these 10 words in your CV. And then have a look and say, okay, do I have that or do I not? Or do I have it, but I've called it something different in my CV? And as long as it's a synonym, it means it's exactly the same thing. It's better for you to then edit your CV to have that language present. But the other thing it's going to do, for example, is if it says you need to have Excel and you have no Excel skills, it's indicative then that you need to upskill in Excel before you start applying for those jobs. Sorry, I actually get rid of my phone. So that you can upskill there a little bit. Okay, so that's what you want to be doing. What you want to be looking at is to see, are my job titles consistent? Because from one environment to the next, it may be called different things. So again, if it's synonyms, you want to be looking at that. But let's say it says you must have analytical experience, you must have Excel, you must have lean, you must have 5S, you must have pastel accounting. You may have it, just not put it there. And again, it may be something you need to focus on. It will then say you can edit your duties. So if duties are worded, that is not the most common language used in your across all those jobs, opportunity to fix that. And then it also helps you frame the profile value proposition. But I've also written a prompt that will help you to rewrite all of this stuff. But this is fundamentally what you're looking for. Does my CV read like the most common basket of jobs that I'm applying for? Is my CV relatable to what I'm applying for? And where it isn't, it's a chance for you to edit it so that it makes sense to the reader and that there are enough keywords in that CV to rank highly. Now, having keywords in is not about whacking keywords like hashtags at the bottom of your CV. It's about strategically positioning them throughout the structure of your CV. So in your profile statement is a good place to put strategic keywords. In your skills section is an exceptionally good place for keywords. In your duties is a good place for keywords. And then sometimes in your job titles or in your tech stack, those are places where keywords should be. So that's at least 4 or 5 places where you can put a keyword in. And as long as keywords appear 4 or 5 times, you're probably ranking in the top, you're probably ranking higher up than lower down. Does this make sense to anybody? Anybody not following what I'm talking about? Because this is really an important bit to get right. Anything you want me to go back on? Happy to do examples, talk through anything, but it's a biggie. So now's your chance. Use me.
Yes, please. The professional overview part,
Yeah.
please elaborate more on it.
Sorry, can you just repeat that though?
The professional overview part, that part that explains more about myself on a CV.
Okay. Yes, I will do that. Okay, so much like the cover letter, sometimes you'll see a profile section on a CV or that professional overview, executive summary, people call it many things, that says, I'm a hard-working team player who achieves all the objectives that you give me to do. And that's it. Okay, well, that could be the same for the receptionist, the cleaner, the CEO, and anybody else. So, but how does it set you apart? But if you applied for, say, sorry, what do you do? So let's go there. Let me make it really practical for you. What are you studying? What are you hoping to apply for?
I'm currently studying public relations and communication management sciences.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to apply for, I'm still thinking about it. I'm not too sure.
That's
Maybe,
okay. Give me an example. It doesn't have to be exact.
maybe a recruiting agency that focuses more on marketing, social media, and.
So you want to be a recruiter or you want to be a marketing person in an agency?
I want to be a public relations specialist.
Okay, I would honestly, you were not going to work in a recruitment agency then. Okay, let's say you want to be in public relations. Let's say you want to do that for a bank. Okay, let's go for banking, just as an example. Your profile section might talk about your a project that you may have done where you've analyzed a brand identity, or you had to mitigate a risk, or where you had to reverse some public brand damage, right? It could talk about your strong ability to run marketing campaigns, because you alluded to that earlier. It could also talk about your constant content creation and your ability to assess brands. That would be something you talk about in the profile section.
Oh, okay, noted. Thank you so much. Do I include maybe the skills that I have, or maybe what I've achieved in
You
the
can,
profile?
if you've got a key achievement, it's a nice place to put it. I wouldn't go and list a whole bunch of, say you haven't used HubSpot, and I wouldn't list tech skills there, but you could talk about strong awareness of market, or like macro and microeconomics that are relevant to a space. That is a skill that you could talk about, but not just to randomly list all sorts of tech. It's a positioning statement, not a list, not a shopping list, if that makes sense.
Oh, it should be related to
Yes,
the
yes.
job.
Because, as a marketing person, you're not going to go and apply for an engineering position, right?
Yes.
So when you're writing a position statement, when we talk about relevance, it's going to be relevant to the types of roles that you're applying for, the grouping that you're applying for.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions on this?
Yes, Ginta. Please, there was a part where you talked about the keywords, and you spoke about ranking up there rather than down.
Yes.
So I want to rank up the tourism practitioner. So I want to rank up there. So how do I know the keywords, the important words to include in my CV, and also in my LinkedIn account, in my LinkedIn profile? Maybe let me make an example of some of the job, specifically the job, my dream job. I do wish I do wish to be a tourism officer one day. In fact, that is what I'm going to be in the future.
Okay.
But now I want to ensure that I have the correct words, so that on my LinkedIn profile, they give me a better chance of being spotted. And I want to also have the keywords, the correct keywords on my CV as well. So how do I know the keywords, the correct keywords to put in?
Because the script that I wrote, this AI script is going to do exactly that for you. But to do that, you've got to have examples of job specs, good examples of job specs. Because, you know, you say you want to work for Durban Tourism, that's your ideal job. But what if the best position comes up in Cape Town, right? So, and it might not be for the tourism board, it could be for something else, but strongly related to. So you want to go and find at least 5 or 10 jobs that you could apply for in your space, those ideal looking jobs. This prompt is going to go and find, it's going to go and do the analysis and tell you what those words are. So I've written the script to find those words for you. And then the output from that AI prompt is going to be the words that you need to see whether you can include them in your CV. Because sometimes it's going to spit out words that you literally have no experience with. So I'm not saying go and put those words in. Your CV has to be authentic, because otherwise we have that going to the shop TV experience. What I see and what I get are going to be two different things. So it has to be honest, but it will give you the words that you need to have in. Absolutely, it's going to do that. But you can do it the manual way too. You can read 10 job specs. You can extract what you see as common across them. You can go and analyze your own CV and see whether those words are consistently present in your CV, or whether you in fact have those skills. Because it's not only about finding the right words, it's about using the time you've got between now and when you're likely to be in the job market to upskill yourself effectively. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I like the part about finding job specs, and then I do a comparison.
Yes, that's exactly what this prompt is going to do for you. I wrote the prompt to do exactly that. So I've taken all the admin out away from you, and I've tested it so that you can just run it and use it.
Thank you.
Okay, right. You know, also, this kind of, when you're looking for 5 profiles, so you find the person that's got your ideal job. Go and see what they look like. Go and see their background. Go and see how they phrase their own wording on their own LinkedIn profile. Go and see where they hang out. What groups do they belong to? Start networking with them right now, like today, because they are a wealth of information as you move forward. But that's a completely different topic altogether. Okay. Right, so now we know how to find the keywords and what you're going to do with them, because the prompt is going to tell you exactly what it is you need to do. But again, I'm going to say, if it's a synonym, so it means the same thing, just a different word, like build and create, same thing. Change the word to create if the job specs use create, not build. Okay. Okay, I've explained that one already. Okay. AI works better when you give it perspective. So when you read the prompt that I've given you, you'll see, and I'll show one to you, that I've given it perspective. I've told it exactly what I expect it to do and why I expect it to do that. But if you're using your own prompt and you're putting in a job spec and you're saying, AI, I want you to tell me if I'm suitable for this role. The more you give it, the more context you give it, the more of your project work you explain, the more of your transferable skills you provide it, the more it can assess it for you and give you suggestions. But you also need to say, this is a financial services client company, this is a manufacturing company, this is a this, because it can take from your experience and highlight for you where your strengths and areas of development are. But without perspective, sloppy input is going to get you sloppy output. And in fact, you could do yourself a world of damage if you don't give perspective, provide context, refine and edit it. Okay, so it's just please just be mindful of it. Yeah, we've done this already. I'm going to go. Cover letter we've covered already, so I'm skipping that bit. Right. Much like references, throughout the recruitment process, you will be asked for documents. Now, I see many many people, not just students and graduates, will attach their ID, their matric certificate, their transcripts, everything onto the back of the CV and save it like that. If we go back to you're giving me an entire pack to clone your identity, here's a prime example, because now I've got your ID and qualification certificates and your tax number and everything. You don't need to. Also, as a recruiter, very often I need to do something with your CV. So as an agency, I will transport's not a good word, transfer your CV onto my template when I send it to my client. That means I have to extract all this unnecessary stuff from your document so that I can save it separately. When my client says, I would like to see the person's transcripts, I want to be able to send the transcript only. But if it's all on one document or you don't have it, it delays the process and it looks unprofessional. So I beg you, with tears in my little eyes, please, if you haven't already done this, please do it like by the end of this weekend. We all have access to free cloud systems, Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, Apple's, whatever Apple's thing's called. I'm not an Apple person, so I don't know what they call it. Please, professionally, not a sideways, crumpled up piece of paper with your phone and you can see the bed at the bottom. Scan in your ID, your matric certificate, any completed qualifications or certifications, transcripts, statements of results, and your driver's license if applicable. If you don't have an ID and you only have a passport or a visa or a permit, please have those things put in. You do not need to have these things certified, because otherwise it's going to mean you're going to have to run around the whole every 3 months recertifying this document. Mostly only government departments, and it's even the weirdest thing because they are the person who could validate your own documents. You don't need to certify it, only government applications sometimes need it. But then please also name it correctly. Don't upload an image and then the image is called image 34275. It must be named Gita Winter ID, Gita Winter Matric Certificate, Gita Winter Driver's License, Gita Winter CV. And when you are asked for it, then you've got it at your fingertips and you can submit it. Where you've lost a matric certificate or something, now's your chance to please go and apply for one. You can apply for it online these days, but it still takes a little bit of time for you to get it. And more often than not, even in big companies, I still have to validate a matric certificate as well as a tertiary qualification. So you're doing yourself a favor if you save all of these documents once in some cloud-based system. So when a recruiter hiring manager asks for it, you can submit it ASAP and look professional and organized. And really, that's about that. Your CV is really part of your personal brand and a very small part. We've covered this already. It must look the same on LinkedIn. Your CV needs to stay updated and replace it on all the platforms that you use. Don't forget where your CV is. I see your hand. Thank you. I'll come to you now. Please make sure you update and replace your CV on all your platforms, which means you have to track where you've loaded your CV. Because if you leave me open to making assumptions about whether it is current, not current, you've got skill, you don't have skill. Don't leave it open. Your brand identity counts. Your CV can look fantastic, but if you wrote your email wrong, you didn't write a text, your email body is shocking, your grammar is poor, that counts. Or if I pick up the phone to phone you and you sound like that I just woke you up and you ticked off that it's 11 o'clock in the morning and I woke you up, you are now giving me a brand identity of yours. If I ask you for something or a recruiter asks you for something and you don't read your emails for 5 days, you don't return phone calls, it takes you a week to submit something, trust me, that is all being taken into account. So while your CV is part of your personal brand, There's a much bigger picture in play, and you want to brand yourself as a knowledgeable professional that I want in my business or for my client. And then I want to say to you, please keep it relevant, not just your CV, but your career in general. Things change rapidly. Do the research before you take on a new qualification, before you look at moving jobs. Do a little bit of research. Make sure it's going to be relevant 3 months from now. Make sure that you are evolving, continuously improving. If you've done Udemy courses, please add it. If you are upskilling in some way, please make sure that it's visible, specifically on LinkedIn, but also on your CV. Your brand matters. You own the story of your brand. You are your own marketing consultant. Really, you owe it to yourself to be a shining example of who you want me to see. Right, there was a hand. You're welcome to ask your question. I just want to see what time, how much we're doing for time. 10 minutes, okay.
Okay, thank you. I think mine, I have two questions. I might have missed during your presentation. The length, how long should a CV be like? Then my second question is on whether it's allowed to generate a CV using AI tools, and is it possible that recruiters will be able to pick that using ATS? Thank you.
That is an excellent question. It's an age-old debate. How long should a CV be? And a lot of the data that we take off LinkedIn specifically talks about 2-page CVs or 3-page CVs. That is actually called a resume. And where that stems from is American markets. They have a requirement for short CVs. But if you've given me an exceptionally good cover page and your CV is well structured, there is no issue with having a CV that is 5 pages long, because I use tools on a document to find the words that I need to see. You can guide my eye to certain things, but if you've positioned yourself well, given me a summary, listed your key skills, showed me your context and achievements, I would rather see that on 5 pages than have too little on 1 page. Because 1 page, your risk is that you don't have enough logical places to put keywords in, so you rank lower. Structure it well, make bullet points, give me the option to read what I want to and not what I don't need to, and then we're good to go. Does that answer your question?
It's partially, was I had asked the two questions. The second one was on whether we are allowed to use AI tools to generate one, and then is it allowable when recruiters are looking at your CV through ATS? Oh.
Yes, you can. You can use AI to generate your CV with 2 provisions. One, that you have aligned it to the role based on relevant information in your own career. And 2, that you've tempered what AI say to be authentic. So AI loves to make us look good. It's going to say, save the company lots of money, but really you didn't. But it took that from something. So provided that you've given it the right context with the correct input, and you have tempered the choice of words that AI uses to remain authentic, we don't mind if you use AI. We really, really don't mind. Because you're utilizing globally accepted tools, which we use in our jobs every day. It would be crazy for you not to tap into that in order to generate a CV. So please do, provided that you use it well. Sloppy input, sloppy output. I saw another hand.
Oh, yes, most definitely. Thank you. I have a question as well. With regarding to when I'm putting my key skills on my CV, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I have this confusion, whereas I a long list of key skills. I'm just writing like a long list,
Mm-hmm.
and I just move some of the things sometimes. I don't know how we should possibly maybe have a great way to put our key skills so that it doesn't probably look like a growth list, just long enough,
Yeah.
like that. So
Okay.
I just want to know, probably maybe is there a way that we can maybe just have it short, simple, but just strict to our key skills? I'm not sure if I'm making sense
No,
or
you're
not,
making
but yeah.
perfect sense, and it's a very, very good question. Thank you for that. You're right. And what I would say is you go back and read those key skills. Are they generic statements? Team building, analytical, problem solving, timekeeping, attention to detail. You can skip all of those, all of them.
Okay.
When you've used that AI prompt, you'll see that it will give you the key skills relative to the space that you're going to be applying to. Key skills, you need to how could you quantify them? So let's say, and the tech skills is a classic example. You say you use pastel as a key skill, but actually you've only used one very small component of pastel, but you list it as a key skill. So in an interview, I assume that you are you're really good at pastel, and I ask you a question, you don't answer it. A key skill should be related to the job at the level at which you're doing it. And if you can keep it short to the job requirements, those 10 jobs that have been summarized by this AI prompt, you're better off than listing a whole bunch of generic skills that look like the back of the bottle of the shampoo, because that's really what happens. Team player, hardworking, all of those come out all the time. No value whatsoever. We don't even read those anymore, quite honestly. So use the prompt,
Okay.
test it out, and
Thank
you'll
you.
see how it will filter those things to what is really relevant. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Other hand? Yes.
Yes, I wanted to check on two things. One is on the length of the cover letter, and then secondly, whether you can copy the cover letter and put it on your email when you are submitting your application.
If you're going to put a generic cover letter that says nothing other than the fact that you've attached the CV, don't bother with a cover letter, because very often we don't read them because they say nothing. Very often. If you are sending an email, I encourage you to put something in the body. And if you're using an email that you're copying from a cover letter, both of them have to be very specific as to why you're applying for my job. So tell me why it's relevant. How are you going to add value? What are you bringing to the table? What are your key skills? And how have you considered the role in line with your own skills and experience? If you're not taking the time to do that, then definitely don't bother, because you're giving me nothing to encourage me to open the CV. So yeah, that's the answer. Use it. Cover letters are not valuable unless asked for, but if you insist on using one and it is your choice, make it valuable. Make me want to open your CV because you gave me something interesting to look at. There was another hand.
Good day, ma'am.
Hi.
When creating a CV, can I use Microsoft Word alone without like templates?
Yes, please. Absolutely. Yes, please. In fact, Microsoft Word has some CV templates. They are all text-based, so they are the perfect ones to use. The more fancy things you put in it, the less ATS likes it, the less chance I'm going to find you. The simpler it is. I always say it's substance over form. Make sure your text is valuable, not how it looks. I mean, it must be tidy and structured, but I don't want to see tree borders and word art pictures and little images and the like. It adds zero value. So the answer is yes, please. We love you for that. Thank you for that.
Thank
If you're
you,
going,
Val.
some people put photos of themselves on their CV. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying that it can open you for unconscious bias. You may not like my glasses, the way that I pull my hair back. You don't like the color that I'm wearing. And honestly, how you look, unless you're applying for very specific roles where they insist you add a photo, how you look has no relevance on your ability to do the job. And again, I implore you, if you're going to put a photo on, small head and shoulders, professionally done. And when I say professionally, I'm not saying go and get a photographer. I'm saying get a friend to take it. So not a bathroom selfie where I can see the mirror, the urinals, and the camera in the mirror. Get your friend to take a photo, a clean background, not like your cupboard threw up on your bed and stuff is everywhere. Nobody attached, like whose your foreheads were touching, so there's half a person and fingers over your shoulder. You know, there are background removers that are free to use. If you love the photo, but there are fingers and all sorts of things in the background, use those apps to just remove it. But I am not a fan of photos, because it should never be relevant to your skills, not ever how you look. You should be basing it on
Peter,
that. Yes.
can we just take this one question because we have to wrap up now?
Yes.
Kunu, you can disable your mic and ask.
Oh, I was wondering if I can share my CV that's in the review as an example.
Unfortunately, we can't do that because it takes up a hang of a lot of time, and I also can't randomly take CVs. But what I will do is I will share the prompts, and if you generate content on LinkedIn, I'm always happy to have a look at it if you've tagged me or if you've joined it. I want to quickly put the prompts in the chat while we do this, because then you guys have got something to work with. The prompts are very, very, very detailed. So please make sure that you copy the full prompt from start to finish. And then if you work with it, I promise you, you'll see what it is that you need to be putting in there. Okay. I'm really sorry, but I cannot be reviewing all the CVs. It's just not practically possible. But there's the prompts. Please copy and paste them as we go. Is the chat available to students after the call is ended? Or do they have to copy it now?
I think they have to copy it now.
Okay, let me copy all 4 of them in one go instead of one at a time. Then in the essence of time, then all of them are there. I've changed the color of the headings so that you can see where one prompt starts and one prompt ends. I'm very active, except for the last little while. I'm generally very active on LinkedIn. So I can't connect with you. I'm tapped out on my connections, but I can follow you. So, but please do, if you've worked on CVs and then you want to redo this, we run the session every single semester, plus a LinkedIn one specifically. So you've got the opportunity to revisit this and ask questions based on the output as well. The university have made sure you've got access consistently through the year.
Yes, consistently. Thank you very much, Gita, for that. And I hope the session was very fruitful to everyone listening in and involved. We will be having another session next week on personal branding on the 20th. Make sure that you have registered for that as well. We will be sending the links again, just to get some more numbers. As Kita said, you're welcome to attend the other session and ask more questions, right? So thank you very much for availing yourselves today. And we very much like helping the students of DUT because we understand how it is
how the competition is in the job market. So we're doing our best to make sure that you guys stand out. So thank you very much. Have a lovely evening. Travel safely. Goodbye.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.